How's it going? I'm Edward. If you saw the first video, I explained that I plan on doing these in short little segment videos and putting them all in a playlist. For this one, I promised in the next one to talk about the scale and the chords. I forgot, interestingly enough, that this particular song has a scale change. I forgot all about that. So that's why this particular video is just going to focus on the first page, the intro. On the first page, he has when you look at the chords that show up, D5, B flat, C. It looks like in D minor. If you use the, there's a little acronym you've probably heard when you're trying to remember this, how to do a scale, what chords are in a scale. It's for a major scale, it's whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. For the minor scale, it's whole, half, whole, whole, half, whole, whole. For me, it's just easiest. I've memorized those two and just have a scratch sheet of paper where I will literally just scratch it out to remind myself instead of finding it in a book. It's just quicker and easier to do that. And then, so if you look at the sheet music, if any of you took my advice and got the copy of the sheet music, you'll notice it has the one flat on the staff. That tells us the scale. There's two scales that have one flat. There's the F major scale, and the relative scale is the D minor scale, which I believe is what he had in mind when he wrote this out, because it also has one flat, but it also has D minor in it, and D minor shows up every other measure or so on this intro page. So I'm pretty sure that's what he had in mind. I'll just quickly go through the chords that show up from that scale on the intro. Again, I'm assuming whoever's watching this might have, I won't be showing the actual sheet music for copyright stuff. I know YouTube's real strict about that nowadays. But I'll try to remember what page I'm referring to or what staff on the page for the few people that might have decided to try and follow along. So if you don't know which book I'm using, it's in part 1 video. I hold it up and show it. So for the intro, in D minor scale, the first chord that shows up, they call D5. And the reason they're calling it that is, the standard D chord. But if you look at the sheet music, you'll notice the bottom F sharp doesn't show up in any of the tab. So that's the first chord that shows up. The next chord that shows up is D flat. So a standard B flat, sorry about that. So a standard B would be here, and then if you move it down, that's B flat. I tend to be a little lazy a lot of times, and I'll just bar it with my third finger. It sounds real similar, and if for some songs I find that's easier. And I'll try to point out in these videos the things I'm doing that are little shortcomings of my own. I'm not perfect, and I'm still learning, but I've found little things here and there that help me get by in certain situations. And if you're like me and struggle to quickly get some chords in place, I'll try to suggest little things I've learned along the way that help. The C is the next chord that shows up, but it's not the standard C. It's this other one. And again, I just use the same shape I just used for B flat. I just move it up like that. It makes it easy to keep with the timing of the song. And then he goes back to the D5 shows up again. Of course, it has that distinct sound that you hear in the intro of the song. At the very front of the song, on the sheet music, they show the little tie. So based on that, I would have to rewatch his videos. Luckily enough, for this particular song, there's a lot of real good videos. There's an official video, I think you can buy it from Amazon even, of the Unplugged sessions, where you can see exactly how he's playing it. But they show it as a tie, so it looks like he's doing a hammer on there for that part. Let's see, that gets us through the first staff. On the front of the bottom, on the next staff, the second staff, the first chord that shows up is D minor. And then B flat we've already discussed, that's again showing up. C we've already discussed. D minor, B flat, trying to see if anything else. So that is all of the chords that show up on page 1. And again, in this video, I'm just trying to introduce the scale and the chords. And then I'll stop here for this one, and I'll do a similar video for the second page where they get to the first verse. Like I said, there's a scale change. So that's a different set of chords that show up there. So I'll do that in the next video, and then once we go through that, we can start maybe trying to play through certain sections piece by piece, start playing through the different parts. Hope this is helpful. If you see anything that you think would be helpful to me, feel free to leave a comment. Like I said, I'm still learning. I'm doing this partly for myself to improve, but I am hoping other beginners that are just getting started that maybe haven't been able to afford lessons, maybe this will be helpful to you if you're wanting to learn Layla. Thanks a lot.